Awati Katakon. This is Rudd, and you are watching the Rouge review. And though it may be a little late, I did still want to make a video about my trip to Thailand a couple of weeks ago and my opinions about DMDLand 3. It took me quite a long time to recover once I got back home. Being in the United States again kind of kicked me in the ass. I knew that it was going to be difficult to adjust back, especially knowing that pretty soon I will be going back there to stay. And this interim period, I already knew it was going to be the hardest. But when I came back to the United States, and during that first week that I came back, I was so sick. Just as soon as I started eating the food here again, if that says anything about most American food, I was just very sick for a full week, maybe even a little longer, once I returned to the United States. Plus, my work schedule is just really busy. I spent almost 2 weeks uncovering myself from being gone for a few weeks. So it was just a lot. And now things are a tiny bit better. And I've finished the Middleman's Love series. We're about to start on Chiang Rai. So, what better time to finally catch up and tell you guys all about my trip? I have no script for this one. I have made some notes so I don't forget to tell you guys about all of the highlights and not get too off the rails. But for this one, I will be talking and then adding the photos in later. So if it seems a little weird or if I point the wrong way, I'm sorry. I add the photos afterward. It's just easier in the editing phase than to try to do it on here. So yeah, so I'm doing my best. I'm no host. And at least usually when there's a show, there's something for me to concentrate on and kind of a schedule because I know how the show's going to go. This is just, woo, what I have to say. I do have a beverage today. It is almost midday. It's like late morning. This is the black coffee that I forgot to drink during my son's volleyball game this morning. I left it in the car, but it was still perfect because it's so hot outside. Um, they did great today, and I love watching him play volleyball. So that was my treat this morning, and now I'm here sharing with you guys. So for my trip, I was in Thailand for right at 2 weeks. And I flew from where I live in the United States to Seoul, Korea, and then to Bangkok. So that was a 1 hour flight, a 15-hour flight, and then a 5.5 hour flight. And oh boy, I thought I was going to be able to sleep at least a little bit during all of that time, but I was so anxious from work and having to get everything ready for me being gone. I think that anxiety just bled over into the traveling. I didn't sleep any. It was like 24 hours that I was awake, and like I could feel myself dozing in the airport in Seoul, like in between, but I pretty much just didn't sleep. So by the time I got there, I was a little fried. Thankfully, all of my flights were on time. So I got to Bangkok in like the middle of the night. I think it was right at midnight when my driver picked me up and then went to the hotel and still had to get settled. So, a funny thing about going there as a tourist is that I was so excited that I would get to practice, what baby Thai that I know. And I felt like I had a good handle on very basic conversation. But everyone speaks English, and I obviously look like a foreigner, so they just automatically speak to you in English everywhere. And I would try to reply to folks in Thai, but they just stick with English. And I mean, bless them for that, because if the conversation had gone too far and then I didn't know the words that they were saying, I would have felt embarrassed to be like, can we switch back to English? But the Grab and taxi drivers, great people to speak Thai with. So I was able to talk to quite a few of the drivers, and it was funny. They got surprised, I guess, when I would respond to them in Thai because most of the time they were just talking or they were trying to figure out the directions, like, is it here? Is it there? And then I'd pipe up and be like, yeah, it's right here. The one driver was like, oh, I didn't know you could speak. And I'm like, well, not very well. So, if you're feeling a little bummed about practicing your language skills, definitely some local restaurants or in a taxi or a Grab, that's your place. Like, you can always practice there because I bet you that they will be happy to speak Thai with you and not English. Okay, so the hotel where I stayed in Bangkok, I started in Bangkok. I spent a few days there first. Um, it was called the Ha Loft or Five Loft Hotel. It's off of Silom Road. It highly recommend. It's like an art hotel, so each room is unique and they have all these cool art pieces in there. The layout is really nice. They have a kitchen and a living room, and then there's just so many amenities. As a solo traveler, I felt like all of these hotels that I stayed at were definitely more than I needed, but so super nice. It was definitely a luxury trip for not luxury money. So, highly recommend that hotel. And it was right in the middle of everything that I wanted to do and see. So, very convenient. I prefer the Silom Road area. So, a lot of people also stay on the Sukhumvit Road, and that's where a lot of like the big shopping and famous restaurants and famous areas come off of that road. So, depending on what you like, those are kind of the two main drags. Um, the first day that I was there, I got there, it was the middle of the night. I kept trying to go to sleep. I couldn't. I went out on the balcony and sat for a while. I just couldn't get to sleep. And finally, it was like 5 a.m. And thankfully, all of the restaurants that you can get delivery from start serving at like 5 a.m. So I ordered some breakfast. I gave up. And then finally, after eating, I was able to go to sleep and promptly slept until like 7 p.m. So I already knew the first day would be shot anyway. So what I did was walk down to Lumpini Park, and it was just a straight shot from my hotel. It was probably a couple miles. Um, I could have taken the train, but I just prefer to walk, and I wanted to see the city. And there's so many things on the way, so many shops, and people just selling snacks and food. It was amazing, and that park is beautiful at night. Hopefully, I'm showing you some photos of that right now. I walked around the whole park um, and just took photos, enjoyed it. Even though there are so many people there, it never feels like it's busy, it seems like, anywhere. Unless you're specifically like riding on a packed train, nowhere I went felt overwhelmingly crowded. And even there were cafes that I went in, and I was the only person there. It's a wonderful experience if you've been to a lot of cities where it does feel overcrowded. Like, this is a huge city that never feels like there's too many people ever. And there's so much green space, space to sit, space to hang out. It's a very people centric city. So after the first day, that was like all I did was go to the park and then walk back. So a little bit of exercise. I wanted to go to the park, and then I went back and slept some more. So the second day that I was there, I had to hit up all the malls. Yeah, it's my favorite thing to shop, and specifically there were things that I wanted to take pictures of, and I know that all of the celebrities that I like have advertisements everywhere at the shops and the malls. So my older son told me offhand when I was telling him about all of the celebrities I saw and I was so excited. He's like, I'm glad that you're enjoying your little gay I Spy, mama. And so from then on, I was like, that was my mission. It's gay I Spy. So I took many photos of the celebrities that I liked, and it was fun to like go around and see who was all around the sides of buses, the sides of the train, big billboards, or they'd have cardboard cutouts in the salon or the drugstore, things like that. It was very fun. I did go to Siam Square where they have the Clinique building and big C and U on the side of the building. It's like a three-story building, and the whole facade is just a photo of C and U. I took a picture. Hopefully, you're seeing it now. It was one of the main reasons that I wanted to go to the Siam area was to take a picture of that and to get a picture of the Siam Paragon and that area outside that is in the beginning and the end of Cutie Pie. So if you remember the scene where they're walking toward each other at the end and you can see the mall and the fountains and the big billboards at the end. So I had to walk through there and take a video, of course. Who would I be if I didn't revisit the Cutie Pie area? So that was super fun too. And you know what? It might have been a little bit cheesy, but I was having a good time and I was so pleased to be able to go there and see these places from my little shows. And it felt great. So Siam Paragon is like the designer mall. So it's super nice. They have so many art structures inside too. There's so much to look at in Bangkok. There's just art everywhere, there's sculpture everywhere. Everything is interesting and they're changing it all of the time. So if you're an art lover like I am, this city is also for you. There's always something to see and it is ever changing. I can't say enough about it. It's hard for me to describe, but every shopping mall was like my dream. Like I was born in the 80s. I love the mall. And I walked, I think, between four or five different ones. And you can just keep walking. And then one just bleeds right into the next. So all of the Siam malls are all connected. And then once you come out of Discovery, then MBK Center is right there also. And you just keep on shopping. So that was my day. I did a whole lot of shopping and a whole lot of gay I Spy on the second day. I was trying to take it easy, still recovering from the travel. So my big plan, like tour plans, were on the third day. And I felt like that was a great choice. I didn't want to get ahead of myself. I think I walked about 6 miles every day, if not more, but I know at least that every day. It was so much, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I prefer walking, and I did enjoy taking the train. I took the MRT, the underground train, and the BTS, the Sky Train. Both of them excellent. Wish we had those in America. It would make everything better. So the next day that I was in Bangkok, I did like the typical temple tours. Just I didn't want to miss the main ones. So I went to Wat Arun, Wat Po, and the Grand Palace. And I was on like an organized tour. I also am not a huge fan of doing those organized tours, but because I wanted to be filled in on the history, I really love Thai history. I didn't want to miss anything. And it was easier just to coordinate going to each place in order. So I just gave up and did it. But it turned out to be an amazing choice because the tour guide was super cool. This older guy, probably the same age as my mom. He was so funny and very informative. He knew a lot of Thai history. And then the only people that were there were me and these two guys from the Philippines who now lived in Las Vegas. So Vegas Glenn, if you're out there and you're watching this, you're going to be my bro for life. But these two guys were like my best friends on this tour. And we spent the whole day together just touring these temples and learning and having a great time. So we went through each one. They're all gorgeous. I'll try to show some of the pictures that I took from each one. But the mosaic work and the gold leaf work on all of these buildings is just stunning. There is nothing in North America that I can think of that compares to this at all. And I've seen a lot of shit. And I've been to like all these famous churches and stuff in Europe too. And they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but just the uniqueness of how these temples are built and how beautiful and intricate and colorful they are. My camera couldn't even capture how colorful everything really is. It's unreal. So, if you ever get a chance to see these places, please do take the regular tour. Like, it is worth your time. Um, I was able to see the reclining Buddha, which I really wanted to see, and his giant feet with all of the inscriptions. And he's 46 meters long. I mean, it was amazing. And then I got to drop the coins into the pots along the way. And you do that for good fortune. You can give them 20 baht, they give you coins, and you drop one in each of the 108 bowls. And that was super fun. And I got to see the Emerald Buddha, which is the most sacred Buddhist artifact in Thailand. And only the king can touch it. And they change his outfit for each of the 3 seasons. And it was just so incredible to see that. You can't take pictures of it. There was a place where you could take pictures like from the outside through kind of the window, but it felt disrespectful. There's so many people there praying, and I just didn't want to take a picture. I took a picture of the building and everything around it, but that was incredible. It's gorgeous. It's not as big as you might think it is, but it's so beautiful there. It was just an incredible day. I'm so glad that I did it, even though I'm not normally the kind of person who goes on those organized tours. I only took 2 on my entire trip. So that was one, and it was worth it. And after the tour was about 6 hours long, so we ended in mid afternoon. And we'd been outside. It was raining off and on all day. So the rainy season kind of got started while I was there. The first few days, there was no rain. And then after that, it kind of started to rain every day, which was quite nice. It wasn't torrential rain until the very last day. And if you are looking for a time to go, I think around the end of April, beginning of May is a great choice because it is just turning over into being rainy. So there's probably going to be less people out, but it's really not that bad. I don't mind the rain. So if that's not a big deal to you, this is perfect prime time to go. But after we finished the tour, the 2 other guys were like, "Hey, do you want to go to the mall? Do you want to go get something to eat? Do you want to?" And I was like, "No, I'm so sorry. You guys are cool as fuck, but I am so sweaty. I need to go home and take a shower. I should not go anywhere else." And that was the only day that I spent like the entire day outside in the full sun. So it's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit there. The temperature is anywhere from like 32 to 35-ish every day, and like 100% humidity. As I said, it rained off and on, so the air is wet as soon as you step outside. So I was ready to go take a shower and be inside for a little bit and recuperate. My hair looked sad. I bought a fan at one of the temples, like a straw fan, and I think I would have died without it because they're just so much sweat. It You get used to it after a while, but when you come from another place where that isn't the climate into the tropical climate there, like that adjustment period, you're going to sweat a lot. Even if heat doesn't bother me. I love heat, but it's different than where I am accustomed to. So I sweat a lot the first like 6 days. So just be prepared for that if you take a trip. You're gonna sweat a lot at the beginning until you get used to it. And like my hair, it didn't know what the fuck it was doing. It was not used to this. I had to think of a new way to style my hair, and like I had to go buy some different products to use because it just decided to act totally different in that environment. So just know it happens. But I was able to go home and just chill out. I had told Vegas Glenn I was just going to remain a cool person he met in his memory. But if you guys have social media, I don't really. You can always look up Vegas Glenn. He's a really cool guy. And if you ever want to buy any real estate in Las Vegas, United States, you should look him up because he's a realtor. All right. After that, I just went home and had dinner. It was very nice. It was probably the only day that I relaxed and just watched television. I ate food. So I ended up ordering from the same restaurant like 3 or 4 times when I was in Bangkok because they had this one dish, and it's like a kid's dish. It's considered comfort food. It's like a food that children eat, but it's like a stir fried macaroni, and it had minced pork in it and like onions, peppers, and then it has a sweet tomato sauce. Not like spaghetti, and not like ketchup, but it's a unique flavor, but it is very comfort food. It's so flavorful and delicious. And I loved this tomato macaroni so much. I ordered it 4 times in 2 weeks. So I gave that restaurant the highest reviews every single time. I would order something different with it each time, but I still got that same dish every single time and always get a hotel that has like a kitchen and everything because I was able to order food, a bunch of food at once, and then I would have like breakfast when I got up or dinner when I got home and I could just heat up the second dish that I had ordered. It made it a lot easier so that when I was tired or if it was early in the morning, I didn't have to worry about trying to order something and then waiting. And it really doesn't take that long, but it was easy. You could order a lot of things at once. It worked out well for me. Same with drinks. The coolest thing about drinks, if you order them delivery, is they give you the cup with the ice in it. And then separately, they give you a baggie with the drink in it, like a spill proof bag. And that way you can have the drink whenever. So I ordered like 3 or 4 drinks at once, put them in the fridge, and then when I was ready to drink them each morning, I already had a coffee ready as soon as I got up. So always get one that has a refrigerator and the microwave and everything. It was so convenient, and I love how they separate it. It makes it nice for people like me who would rather just have it ready and would rather eat at home. I don't eat out at a lot of restaurants even here where I live. I prefer to just order it and eat it at my house. I could go sit in a cafe for a while and have a coffee. I don't particularly love the experience of going out to a restaurant, and especially since I was by myself, I didn't really have anybody to sit with and talk, so I ordered a lot of food and just ate it in my room, which was fine. I love that. I was doing this trip to get a rest and get away from everything. So it was everything I wanted. On the last day that I was in Bangkok during the first round, I went to the art museum. It's called the Bangkok Art and Cultural Center. It is at the National Stadium BTS stop, and it's next to Siam Discovery and MBK Center. That place, it ended up being my favorite. I went back again when I came back to Bangkok at the end of my trip that I loved it so much. And it's a circular building, and inside there's like 5 levels, right? And around the inner circles is where they have all of the art hung. I'll show you a picture of that as well. It's beautiful, and you can look up and down and see everybody. And then behind the round galleries, you can go into a room and go down some stairs, and they have more galleries. The art there is so incredible. If you enjoy museums and you just want a chill day to walk around and look at something beautiful and interesting, this is your place. And there's shops in this center as well. And they're all like local artists, handmade things. So the type of people who would be displaying things in the gallery also have little individual shops in this. I bought so much stuff. I love art. It's probably my favorite thing to spend money on ever. And if you know me at all, I have spent ridiculous amounts of money on art commissions and friends who are artists, prints. It's my favorite thing. I love art. So I went ham on these shops and got everybody's souvenirs. I got myself some things, even like handmade bags. I didn't bring it into my little recording area. I bought the coolest canvas bag, like to hold my stuff, from one of the art shops there. I love it. So, if you're ever in Bangkok and have some extra time, I highly recommend going to the Bangkok Art and Cultural Center. It is phenomenal. So, I spent a very long time there, and then I shopped, of course, a little bit more. And I went and got different treats and food at the mall food court. So, I was excited to learn that they had a Krispy Kreme donuts there. And there are certain flavors of donut that are specific to Thailand. I had the salted egg custard donut while I was there. And I'm not really a donut person. I'm not even really a sweets person. Very rarely do I enjoy a sweet treat unless it's ice cream. That's my only thing. But the salted egg filling in the donut was so good. And it was the round donut, not the one that looks like this, but like with the whole regular donut just filled with the salted egg. It was so delicious. 10 out of 10 recommend. But Krispy Kreme donuts, is very, very popular here where I live and in the American South. That's like a big deal. My son couldn't believe that they had Krispy Kreme there. So it tastes better to me in Thailand. That could just be me because I was happy to be there. But to me, the donuts did taste better there. It was probably more my flavor as well. I like the egg. And the other place that I went that they do have here in America but had unique food was the Dairy Queen. My son also freaked out because they had Dairy Queen and he loves the ice cream from there. I had a durian blizzard at the Dairy Queen and it was, I like durian, so it was amazing. And it had black sticky rice mixed in with the ice cream. I have a picture of it too. It was the best treat I could have ever asked for. Again, I love durian. It's highly controversial. A lot of people hate it, but I think it's delicious. And having that entire ice cream with it, with the black rice in there, and it wasn't overwhelmingly sweet. As I said, I don't like a lot of sweets. It was the perfect ice cream dessert. I wish I had eaten 10 of them, but I can't eat very much. So, unfortunately, everybody was asking me, like, did you eat this? Did you eat that? It's like, man, I can't really eat a lot. I ate as much as I could, but if I could have eaten 10 of those durian blizzards, I absolutely would have. And that concluded my stay in Bangkok. And then from Bangkok, I flew to Chiang Mai and stayed there for a couple of days. It was nice. So, Chiang Mai is where I will be staying later on, at least to go to school. And so I did want to make sure it was on my itinerary. And of course, there's things that I wanted to see there. So this was the other place that I did an organized tour. And I'm glad I did because what I chose to see was very far away. So it was like a night tour and then the next day, a full day tour. The night tour, when I arrived in Chiang Mai, I flew in the afternoon, went and put my stuff down, and then they came and picked me up in the evening and we went to Wat Umong and Doi Satep. And if you have a chance to see those, you should only go at night. I'm sure it's stunning during the day, but especially Doi Satep, there's so much gold and it's all lit at night. And then they have the rainbow lanterns everywhere because it's northern Thailand. I just can't describe how beautiful it looks at night. And if you're a night person at all, and I definitely am, like this is the tour for you. So the first one we went to was Wat Umong. There's so much cool stuff there. And then the actual Buddha statue and everything was kind of underground in this cave system. And then there were other places that you could turn and go into. There were bats in there. It was amazing. I didn't take any pictures in there either because people were praying at the time, so I didn't feel comfortable doing that. But I did get like one picture of a different Buddha in a different section. But everything is tunnels in this temple. And the other thing that I loved was outside, they have like this sanctuary garden area. It's just in the trees, and there's a little square of broken Buddha statues. So the guide explained that one of the times in the past when Burma had invaded northern Thailand, they came in and destroyed a lot of the temples and the Buddha statues that they had there. Well, the people of Chiang Mai took all of the broken pieces and put them there in this garden, I guess, to rest. I mean, they were still important and they should be respected even though they were broken. I mean, it was just a very beautiful sentiment. And there were small ones, large ones. There was a Buddha head that was probably the size of my body, all the way down to like small statues that were broken, and they were all brought there to rest. And it was just a really beautiful spot. And this temple also has a lot of temple dogs and chickens. So there were chickens everywhere. And the guide said that there were a lot of areas around there that still did like cockfighting, which is illegal here, but people still do it here, especially in the area where I live as well. But she was saying that when they would have these fights, if the losing chicken didn't die and they were able to take it, the monks would just take in these chickens. So now the temple grounds just have chickens. It was a really cute story, and they were so funny just to see the animals everywhere. It was like being at home on the farm. But after that, we went up the mountain further to Doi Sitep, and that temple is at the very, very top of a mountain, and you have to climb many stairs to get to the top. And then the stair railing is like a Naga body all the way up the hill to this temple. You could pay, like, I don't know, 20 baht, I guess, to take a lift to the top, but you have to pay. And that's just not me. I walked the entire way just to say that I did it, and I was proud of myself. It was a long ass way. But I also took the stairs to the top of the Eiffel Tower when I was in France. And like anywhere that I can do that, I'm going to try to walk it. So I just added that, put that in my pocket, and added that to my experience. It was so beautiful though to walk up and see everything, and you hear the cicadas and the frogs and everything there are so loud all the time. If you are outside, the sound of the cicadas is just overwhelming. You can't escape it until you go inside. I thought it was really cool, but I could see how it could get to be a lot. They're so loud. Everything there is just so much life. And you can hear it and see it and smell it everywhere. It's such a cool thing, and a lot of the videos that I took, it captures that in the background. It's just so loud. You can hear all of the cicadas and the frogs. So we walked up to the top of the hill to this temple. It was stunningly gorgeous. There's so much gold everywhere. There's a lot of pagodas up there that are gold, and they're all lit. So everything against the dark sky is just breathtaking. And they have an area where you can pray and walk around um, in a square. And they were also having a service there. It was another place I didn't get tons of pictures because in a certain area they were having a service. So you have to be very quiet, and I didn't want to disturb them. So I just moved around as best I could and enjoyed each thing. And then, of course, in northern Thailand, they decorate everything with these rainbow colored lanterns. They're very specific to the area. And they were everywhere. And then with the gold and the lights, it just was very, very beautiful there. And there is an area where you can walk over to the side, and there's a look off, and you can see all of Chiang Mai at night in front of you. That to me sold me on going at night versus during the day. I'm sure it's beautiful during the day, but just seeing the whole city way down below you lit up, it was gorgeous. There's just nothing better to me as far as city sights than seeing it at night. So, if you ever get to go to that temple, please go at night. And that was it for the day. And then we went back home. I super enjoyed that whole experience. And I was able to stand in the back for parts of the service and really enjoyed that as well. Um, so the next day, it was an outdoor tour, I guess. I went to Doi Intanon Park. So we saw some waterfalls. We saw the highest place in Thailand. And there's a little area where you can try to balance a coin on its side because it's so flat right there. It's the highest spot in Thailand. And they say if you can balance the coin on its side and it stays up, then you get your wish. Like you make a wish and it will come true. Of course, mine fell over, so whatever. And then I stuck it in one of the cracks so it couldn't fall down. And our tour guide was like, yeah, people do that all the time. They did try it, and I was unsuccessful, so whatever. And after that, we went to a hill village where they make tea and coffee. We got to sample all of the tea and coffee that they made there. It was phenomenal. I'm a coffee fanatic. There was coffee tea also, which is a tea they make from the husks of the coffee beans. It was so interesting, but also very delicious. The perfect, like, mixture of coffee and tea. But their coffee there was phenomenal. I ended up buying a bag of it because it was so good. And I got some candles there that were better than any candle I've ever bought. They smelled amazing. So that was fun to see how they live. And they had like pet pigs tied underneath the house that were just hanging out. And of course, there were dogs everywhere. And we ate in a restaurant there outside the village. Delicious food. And then when you're leaving, they had just an entire bunch, like the big bunch of bananas with like there's 4 or 5 racks of bananas on this one branch. And it was just hanging from the tree out there, and you could just grab a banana for dessert on your way out. I thought it was so funny, but also so smart. Like, that's genius. Just offer everybody free dessert, and you just take a banana for the road and go. I thoroughly enjoyed that day as well. And it was a lot of driving to go all the way up the mountain and back down. But what was so crazy is where the waterfalls and the river were. They had like a place where you can eat. There's many restaurants and then places where you can get tubes, like inner tubes, and then just ride down the river. It was just like where I live. That's a very popular thing to do where I live because we have a lot of rivers and lakes. And you just go out into the middle of nowhere and bring an inner tube, and then you just float down all of these like rapids and rivers. And the way that it was exactly the same was just so funny to me. It was like I had been transported back home. Just add some tropical plants, and it was just the same. A lot of things in that area were that way, and it amused me so much to see the similarities, even though I was literally on the other side of the world. People are just people, and fun is fun, no matter where you are. That was the end of my trip in Chiang Mai. I didn't do a whole lot there, and I didn't stay a whole lot there because I wanted to do a lot of other things. And Chiang Rai was really the place that I wanted to go, so I spent more time there and I was eager to get there. So I just did those 2 tours the 2 days I was in Chiang Mai, and then I took a bus to, or like a van to Chiang Rai, which is about 3.5 hours. But let me tell you, when you you can rent a seat on these transport vans, and it's like 12 people max, and they can take you and your suitcase onto Chiang Rai. But sometimes the drivers can be like Formula One drivers, but we don't need to do that in this van. I mean, we got there safe. It was fine. But it's just funny as some of the bus drivers are like, woo, like this ain't Monaco, my dude. It when I was in Italy a long time ago, our bus driver there also was doing the same thing, and like we got into a small like accident. We just scraped another car because dude was trying to drive the bus like it was a Formula One car. So just keep that in mind. It's a great way to travel. It was super cheap to get from Chiang Mai to Chiang Rai by just going on this van. But just keep that in mind. The driver might be a little wild, or they could be great. Who knows? Just be prepared for either. But I finally got to Chiang Rai, and that was my favorite place in the entire trip. I kind of thought it was going to be, but of course, you can't be sure until you go there. But as soon as I got there, like the minute we were there, I was like, this is it. This is the place. I think I found the place that I would like to live if at all possible. It was so wonderful. It's in the mountains enough to be removed from major touristy things. Of course, it's still touristy. There's so many things to see there, but it was so much more relaxed than, of course, Bangkok. And then it was even more relaxed and quiet than Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is very touristy. And I think unless you go to certain areas and seek that out, you're going to pretty much be around tourist attractions and areas and restaurants. And For some people, they are looking for that. So if you are a kind of person you only want to eat your home cuisine, or you want something that's familiar to you, you're going to be able to find it. Of course in the city, but even in like Chiang Mai, you'll find any type of foreign food that you want. And it easy, get it anywhere at the end of the street. But Chiang Rai was just a little bit more relaxed than that. It definitely felt like there were mostly local people and then some tourists versus other places I was mostly tourists and then a few local people. So I stayed in this bed and breakfast that was like an English countryside B&B. That was the theme of the place, and it was absolutely beautiful. And the staff were the kindest ladies I'd ever met. And I had breakfast there. They have a little cafe, so they give you breakfast every morning when you stay there. They were wonderful. I cannot say enough about this place, and I'll put it up here on the screen too. But if you ever go to Chiang Rai, please stay at this place. The staff were so kind and so funny. I loved them, and they talked to me every day. They couldn't believe I was there by myself, and so every day they came and talked to me while I ate my breakfast. And they gave me, they're like, did you know that you could go here? Are you going here? Are you going there? And it was nice because some of the places they told me about I had not heard of. So I added it to my itinerary and had a great time thanks to these amazing ladies. Once when I was there resting, there was work going on right outside my hotel. So my hotel room had like a little balcony and I kept the window open a lot, but they were cutting the tree, like trimming the tree limbs outside of my room. And one of these wonderful ladies was like, I'm really sorry about the disturbance. Like, it doesn't bother me. It's totally fine. She said, but you can have this mango that came off the tree. I'll cut it up for you. And so she just went to the cafe and cut up this mango that came off the tree right outside of my room and gave it to me to eat. It was delicious. It was the best experience I've ever had at any hotel ever. Do you want this mango that came out from the tree outside your room? And it was fresh and delicious and wonderful. So that was a fun experience right off the bat. Everything in Chiang Rai, like all of the tourist attractions, those just happen to be my favorite ones, which is why I was the most excited to visit the city. So this is where the White Temple is, and that's probably the most famous thing there. The Blue Temple, other most famous thing. The Black House, which isn't a temple, it's more like an art conservatory. So this one artist in residence had created all of these pieces, and it's a complex of like I don't know, 20, 30 buildings. And some of them are figural buildings like art. And then some of them are just filled with art. But you can just walk around this whole complex all day and it's so cool to see the different architecture on the outside of the buildings, to see the art pieces inside. They had like alligator or crocodile skulls and pelts and leather. They had so many taxidermied animals. And then in one building, there was, I guess it was like a python. It was about 20 feet long and it's a snake and it's laid out on the table. And people just place money on it, I guess for good luck. Of course, I did it too. And then it had even money stuffed into the mouth of it. I'll show a picture of it as well. It was such a cool thing to see, and the art everywhere was incredible. So, highly recommend adding that onto your trip. If you are going to just the regular temples, the Black House is definitely worth going to as well. Of course, the first two temples are stunning. The White Temple is kind of half temple and half art museum because an artist helped finish this temple with his own art and own money. So his own art is infused into every part of this temple. And I went on a rainy day. I think if I had gone on a sunny day, the whiteness of that temple would have blinded you. And it's covered in mirror mosaic pieces, so it's even brighter in the sunlight. The pictures that I took, I feel like turned out really well because it was so gray and rainy. you could really see the starkness of the white on the temple. It was really, really beautiful. Every single thing, even if it seems touristy, is totally worth your time there. Um, at the Black House, they also had pet cats there that they rescue and feed, and they let them out a couple of times a day where you can like see them and pet them. I wasn't there when they let them out, but you have the opportunity to give them treats. You can leave a little donation, and they have a box full of cat treat, and you can feed it to them through the little wires of their house. They have like a huge house, and they live in there, and it's like little cat apartments everywhere, and cat trees and toys. They're very happy. And it was so funny to see them. Of course, they figured out that they can like put their hand out and beg, and they did. But I got to feed cats while I was there too. And the other thing in Chiang Rai that was very important to me personally was the Guanyin temple that's there. Some people will call it the Lady Buddha or the Big Buddha. It's so large at the top of this mountain. It overlooks the entire city. But it's Guanyin, who is the goddess of compassion, and you usually see her. She's a woman with children. There's a lot of different stories about that. I'm not giving a history lesson about Guanyin, but she's for me, and I love her. So I went to visit that temple. I walked all the way up all the stairs to the top to see her statue, and then in the temple right next to it is, I think, 9 floors, and then each floor has a life-size carving of different deities, but they're solid wood. It's incredible skill. And if you are even the slightest bit interested in Buddhism, Hinduism, anything like that, and you want to see some gorgeous relics and statues, this is the place to go. I spent the longest time and prayed the most there. I was there for half of the day, and there's so much to see. There's many different buildings, and I just don't leave that one out. I think a lot of people leave it out on the main tour because it's a little further out than the other temples. But I didn't have a tour. I just took a ride from each place. I went in whatever order I wanted to. I called a car and then went to the next place. That's how to go. So if you want to beat the tours, the organized tours, go early in the morning and get started at like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock if it's open, instead of starting at like 10 or 11 when usually the groups are arriving. It was perfect. When I went to the White Temple, I went as soon as they opened, and there was maybe 10 of us there. And it was a wonderful experience. Plus it was rainy, so there weren't that many people. And it never rains for very long. If it does, it might sprinkle for a little bit and then just be cloudy. Great time to go. So that's my spiel about Chiang Rai being the best place ever. It also has my favorite coffee place. It's called 1 to 2 Coffee. And you can order it in Bangkok, and I'd had it while I was there, but it's like originated from Chiang Rai. And I got so many coffees from there. My personal favorite one was the sesame latte, and it has just like black sesame pieces in there, and it has that taste. I love the taste of sesame. So that mixed with the coffee was so good. But my other favorite drink is, they call it an orange Americano, but it's basically you just make an Americano but with orange juice. And it sounds weird, but I swear it's the most delicious coffee drink you will ever try. And I make them for myself here. I have been for quite some time. But in Thailand, every coffee shop sells that drink. And it was so nice to just be able to order it and not have to make it myself. So they obviously know what's up. So, of course, I got that too. But they have so many different types of drink. They have Thai tea, they have many different types of coffee. I got a coconut Americano also, which is kind of like the orange one, but with coconut water. And it was very good as well. So, definitely if you're in the mood for some coffee, look for that. To me, it was my favorite one. I had a lot of different little coffee shops, and they're all fantastic, but the 1 to 2 was my favorite, and you can find it pretty much anywhere. So, Oh, the other, but I'm looking at my notes, like, did I forget to talk about anything? So the one cool thing about my hotel where I was, and it doesn't have to do really with the trip, it was just a neat experience. Across the road from my hotel, there was a jazz cafe. So it was like a coffee cafe, but they love jazz music, and you can go there. People can play guitar or sing or do whatever they want. But evidently, when there's no one there, the owner just sits there and plays guitar. So I opened the window to my little balcony, and you could just hear jazz music flowing in from across the street. It was the best experience. It really made it perfect. I probably will just say 1,000 times that I enjoyed Chiang Rai so much, but it was the best ever. It was like heaven. And that was just the icing on the cake, was hearing the jazz music flow over. I love jazz. So you could hear the guitar just float through the trees into the window. I had the best time. I saw the most things. I relaxed. It was the perfect mix of everything. And it was near a 7-Eleven, so like at night I would eat my dinner and have one Singha beer, which was delicious. Oh, that was what I forgot. I went to Singha Park as well. So in Chiang Rai, there is a place called Singha Park. It's a giant farm that's owned by the Singha Beverage Company. They make everything. They make soda, water, beer, all of it. It'd be like if Coca-Cola made beer also, it just all in one. And that's a Thai company, Thai beer. It's actually very delicious beer. If you're looking for a refreshing, light taste, great choice. But I went there because I knew about it from C and Nu's date there. The first time that C took Nu to Chiang Rai, where he's from, they went to this place. And this place is very popular with locals. There's actually not a lot of tourists there. I went there during the morning and it stayed, through like mid-afternoon, and I think I saw one other person that I thought is definitely a foreigner, and the rest of everyone were Thai people. And even when you buy your ticket, they put on your little they give you a little bracelet and they put on your bracelet foreigner or Thai. So I was being identified like immediately as if they couldn't already tell. I think it's so they know that you want the English when they do like the bus tour and everything. So I was on a bus with three other Thai ladies and just let the guy go in Thai. And I probably understood about half of it, but that was fine. It was a great experience for me. It was the most Thai I'd gotten listened to on my whole trip. So but I did go to that spot specifically because I wanted to go there and see the spot where it's in their video about their date. And it was really cool. And they have the big zip line there. And in the video, Z says you can hear screaming while you eat. And I wanted to do it so bad, but nobody was there. It was a little too early in the morning, so not everything was going. So I didn't get to eat there, and I didn't get to do the zip line, even though I really wanted to. But it was such a cool place, and the farm area is beautiful. It was truly just like being at home. I showed videos and pictures to my parents, and I was like, it's like I'm here, but just with some different plants. So it was a really cool experience, and I got to pet a zebra and a giraffe. So worth it. Okay, then I left Chiang Rai. I feel like I've gone on about this forever, but this is about the same amount of time as the show. So if you stuck with me this long, bless you. I love you. Thank you for listening to me talk about my trip. I promise I'll get to the DMDLand part as well. The very last thing, I went back to Bangkok. It wasn't really exciting. I just enjoyed my last full, it was like a night and then a full day, and then I left the next morning. What I had planned to do was take a tour to Chonburi and go to the Chinese temple there because that's where they filmed the Taiwan scene in Chiang Rai. So I wanted to go to that temple. Well, the trains don't run on Friday to that. So I couldn't just hop on a train. I would have had to take a car. Okay, well, I had already decided I really wanted to go so bad, I would just pay for the car. Well, then on top of that, I looked at the forecast and it was in both cities. It's about 2 hours from Bangkok to get to Chonburi. So both cities were nearly 100% storms in the forecast. So that was what really made the decision. I was like, well, I'd better not, because I didn't want to be driving somewhere that was 2 hours away and possibly get caught in storms and then have to drive 2 hours back or find transportation 2 hours back. So I ended up not going. I'll just save it for when I go back. And I was so disappointed. But I had a mission on the last day. After I didn't get to go to the temple, I made it my mission that I was going to buy the Termtai book no matter what. That was just, I had to have something to do that day, so that was it. And I ended up going to 3 different bookstores to find this book. It was truly a mission and an adventure. Um, I went to the first one, I looked around, couldn't find it. And so finally, I was hesitant to ask a staff member just because my Thai isn't very good. So I finally broke down. I was like, I'm going to have to ask. I really want this book. Just ask. So in my sad, broken Thai, I went and asked the lady if they had the book. And I had it pulled up on my phone. And thankfully, this bookstore shows you exactly what shelf and where it is. So you should be able to walk straight to the book and pick it up. But I couldn't find it, so I gave up. I just was going to ask. So I showed her on my phone, and in my sad Thai, I asked her if they had that book. And she said, no, they were sold out. I was so disappointed. So I ended up buying a different book there. Sorry, I turned away. I hope everybody heard that. I did buy a book, and it was this one. And so there is a rumor, or there has been a rumor for the past few months. I haven't even taken the plastic off yet, that this book is going to be the series that Tudor and Yim is going to be. This is their secret series that they've been working on. It is a rumor, but I feel like it's pretty solid. It was, I mean, either way, I wanted the book, so I went ahead and bought it. I didn't leave with nothing, but I didn't have Termtai. So I went to bookstore number 2. Looked around, it was smaller. Looked around, they were also sold out. So strikeout number 2. And at this point, I was like, I don't care. I'm not going home till I find this book. I'll go to every bookstore in Bangkok. So then I continued on to the next bookstore, which was the largest one. And it said on their website that they had it in stock, and they had it in like 5 different locations in this store, right? So surely if they have 5 shelf spots for this book, I'll be able to find it. I was not able to find it. I walked around the whole store in every spot that it said it should be, and it was not there, or it was gone. And I was like, okay, well, then it's just sold out. I mean, the show was going to start airing the next week. I'm sure people are excited. They wanted a copy. So I almost gave up right there. And finally, I was like, didn't want to go home disappointed again, and summoned up the courage to ask another lady in my sad Thai if they had the book. And let me tell you, barely being able to speak the language, being the only person who was obviously foreign in the Thai section of the bookstore, because they have a section that's English books and then they have a section that's Thai books. It's like divided in half. So I was like the only not Thai person in this area of the store, looking around like I was lost. So I finally broke down and asked the lady if they had it. And she said, I'm not sure. Why don't you ask the lady at the information desk? So I walked over to another lady, and in my very sad Thai, I asked her if they had this book. At this point, I'm like, I'm so dumb. I'm like, do you have this gay book? I really want this gay book. I can't even read it very well, but I really want this gay book. So anyway, she says, we should have it, and disappears. And then she comes back and she still doesn't have it. And she calls the first lady and asks her to help look. And then they come back past me again and they don't have it. And I finally, at that point, I was like, if you don't have it, it's okay. And again, in my very kindergarten Thai, I was like, it's all right if you don't have it. It's fine. And she looks at me and goes, no, we have it. We'll get it. Very determined. So I love this lady already. I stood there for another 5 minutes, and finally the two ladies come back and they have it in their hand. Like, they're holding it in their hand and they're like, "We found it. Here you go." And let me tell you, I think I whyed them about 10 times. I was so grateful to them for finding this book. So I got a copy. Look at me go. It's probably going to be another year until I can actually read this. I can read, but like baby words. It doesn't matter. I wanted the book. I wanted to support the book. I want to support the show. So it made me happy. And so mission complete. And that was my last day in Bangkok. I mean, I walked around and did some other stuff. I went to eat. Um, there was a really cool restaurant on one of the walking streets off of Silom that sold tomato noodles, is what it said on the outside. But it was basically different types of noodle soup, almost like ramen, but the broth or the base was like tomato soup. Oh, it was so good. Like typical, if you're American, like Campbell's tomato soup tasted like that broth, but it wasn't as heavy. And then it had noodles and you could get spicy, not spicy. I got spicy, of course, but it was so delicious. And the shop was, it's hard to describe. It was very small. It was thin. It was like there was the space behind the bar. There was a bar where they put your food and you eat. And then there was a tiny little space where the seats were. So you just slide open a door and slide in and sit down. And that's basically all the room. It reminded me of like Japanese restaurants that are so tiny you can just barely fit in. Totally worth it though. I was just walking by and randomly went in there. It turned out to be delicious. So if you're ever in that area, try some tomato noodles. It was amazing. Okay, that's pretty much it. Um, oh, I one more thing. Not that you really want to hear about all my food, but I do have to say that on the very last day I was there, I didn't eat for a long time because I was going to go out, and then I didn't think it was going to take so long to find the books, and then I didn't know what I wanted to eat. So when I got back to my hotel, I was starving. It was like the afternoon. I had not eaten all day. I was like, I kind of just want a burger. Like, I wonder what kind of burger I could find around here. And then all of the burgers looked kind of, I don't know, very Americanized and but not really good. I don't know. It just didn't suit what I want. I just wanted a nasty burger, from like a diner. So I found this halal restaurant and they had a bunch of Middle Eastern food and then just some random like American or Western food. They had a burger. It was on like a flatbread. It was so well seasoned, the meat. They put the cheese inside the patty, so when you bit into it, you get cheese with everything else. It was the best burger I have ever had. I think I'll dream about that burger until I die. And I was so hungry, I also ordered a pizza, but it was on like naan bread, also heavily spiced, but delicious. And then I got like regular onion rings. And I think there was enough food there for about 3 people, and I ate every bit of it. I sat in my little hotel room on the couch and I put it all on the table and I ate every bit of it. And then later I found a place that makes like the bao buns, like the filled buns, the Chinese ones. And they had sesame, they had pumpkin, they had a cheeseburger one, they had one with like seaweed. I got a whole box of them and I ate them all. So yeah, when you're walking 6 to 7 miles a day in the 100-degree heat, you get hungry. That's probably the most I've ever eaten in my entire life. But I was actually hungry because I was very active the entire time that I was on the trip. I swear to God, I think I lost like 5 pounds just in the 2 weeks that I was there. And I ate all the time. It was just between the heat, the sweating, and the walking everywhere. It was just better. It's everything about there is better. Sorry, I made the right choice. I left feeling like I made the right choice. I definitely think I will love life there. So after all of that, I got back home and was very ill for a while, very stressed for a while, and here we are. So while I was in Thailand, they had the DMD Land 3 concert. I wanted to go, but it didn't line up with my itinerary. I wasn't going to be in the city that night, and I could have changed it around, but the last time I tried to get tickets online to a big concert, I still couldn't get them. So it wasn't worth the gamble of if I got tickets, I could move my itinerary around. But there was no guarantee that I would even get the tickets. So I wasn't going to do, I just said, I'll buy the live stream ticket. So I did. The live stream ticket that I bought was for day 2, which, if you ever get a choice between day 1 or day 2 of things, personally, I feel like day 2 is always better because they seem to be more relaxed. They've already done it once, they're less nervous, and they get a little more loose with what they do and say. And so day 2 was the right choice for this one specifically. There was so much going on, and they were a lot more loose, and the mindset seemed to be, hey, it's day 2. We're just going to do whatever we want. It's the last day. So you can find videos of these performances all over YouTube, and maybe I'll put a few of them together, just the ones that I talk about. But it opened with New doing Fuck Up the World, and what a diva is all I can say. His dancing skill and his vocals, all of it just hit perfectly. And he wore a wig for these shows, and it was like longer hair. Like, I not trying to date myself by saying like slay, but for real, he slayed it, all of it. And it was like a whole leather costume too, but he started out the show by coming down from the ceiling and then doing this amazing performance. And they joked around and said like he was the mothership. And then in day 2 they were like, oh well, we have a mothership, well then who's the fathership? And everybody just looks at C. Like, it was a funny little joke that they went on with, but he killed it by kicking off the show. And so it was like the opening was New, and then it went right into Dex. And personally, that was one of my favorite parts. So they came in also from the ceiling, and they remixed Clang Clang with a couple of other songs. And just at the very beginning, the mix with Tokyo Drift was just, it was interesting. It fit the vibe really well. They were wearing costumes that were a little bit different than what they, a little more cool than what they normally go with. And I'm not trying to say that they don't look cool all the time. They obviously do. But this was more like street style cool. And mixed with the songs and how they were spliced together was just perfect. And I will say that Tudor's voice especially just hit really well. All of their vocals were phenomenal. And so they came down on the moving stage, and then they got off and came out to dance around there's like a part that goes around in a circle around some of the seats. But one of the moments in that performance too that I noticed and loved, and it was just like a 3-second thing. So they come down on the platform, and Yim was the last one off because as everyone was unbuckling from the harness and getting off, he has to sing his line. So he sings his line, everybody gets off, and then he gets off last and then comes in the back down on the floor. And there's a moment where you can see them all get off and then come to the front of the stage and line up like they're supposed to. And then Yim is unharnessing and coming down. He just finished singing. He's like jumping down and running to catch up with them. And Tudor, for 1 second, just looks back and then looks back forward to continue dancing. But you could tell that he was looking back to make sure that Yim made it off and down onto the main stage. And I love them so much. And just that tiny little action was adorable. So if you watch the video for that, take time to notice the 1 second where he turns around to make sure that his boyfriend did make it off the stage and into the lineup. But it was the perfect version of that song. And people had been saying on the internet that they were kind of recycling the same thing over and over. And one, I think that's rude. And two, so what if they did? I mean, they don't have that many songs. Do you like them or not? I'd be happy to hear them say the same three songs over and over again. But they did mix it up really well. I feel like it was a good answer to people who had been complaining about them being boring or whatever. So they killed it too. The first like main couple stage was of course C and Yunu, and their performance was they're all professionals, right? But theirs is just a tier above, I think, everyone else. You can tell that they are famous just by the way that they move and the way that they talk to each other in front of the crowd. They're not nervous at all. They're used to being with each other. They're so comfortable with each other. They're comfortable being on stage. And my favorite thing about C just in general is that you can tell that he's an excellent model. He's really strong model because you can tell by the way that he holds himself and stands and moves that he's comfortable and used to playing to the camera. So that shines through all the time. And of course, their vocals together are just phenomenal with Z's low voice and then Yunu's high notes. And Yunu even took time to say that he picked songs that he wanted to sing and he thought sounded good. Nobody made him pick a certain type of song or a certain high, low, whatever. He picked what he liked. This whole DMDLand was supposed to be like the guys doing what they wanted to do. They were given a lot of choice in the song material. So if you see them, they look truly like the power couple. And they're just so natural when they talk to each other, too. All of the couples, well, and everybody, they have to talk in between. You can tell some people are more comfortable with it than others, but they just have it down to a science. It's natural, it's funny, they understand each other, they easily go back and forth. So they get top billing on cool points. Like, this is the real deal right here. I loved their performance. And then eventually they took like all of they're kind of wearing armor at the beginning and then they took that off and were more relaxed too. And then there's a part where C has to like help him remove his clothing. And the band they did it at their couple concert too. The band starts to play like some sexy music when he helps to take the armor piece off. He's like, wow, 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 wow. And C gets so embarrassed like every time. And then of course Nunu like messed it up because they were playing. And he's like, well, they shouldn't have been playing that sexy music. It was very funny. I think there is a video of like their entire stage. So definitely worth watching if you're going to review some of the performances. Loved it. And the other that was, of course, my personal favorite. This is just me, Red. I was watching it for Tudor and Yim. And they killed it. Both of their song choices were so good and so them. It was the most representative of them and their personalities performance that you could have ever wished for. I knew that Yim was excited for these performances because he had mentioned it in an interview before, and he was trying to say like the singing was kind of hard, but he was really excited to sing these songs, and they killed it. So they opened their stage with Kitty Swag. If you've ever heard that song, I freaking love that song. And if you've known Tudor and Yim for a long time, you know that Tudor is like the professional singer and Yim is like the professional dancer. Tudor is not a very strong dancer. He's not bad at it, but it's just obviously not his thing. And then Yim is not a singer. He'll tell anybody. He's like, no, I am not good at singing, which he has improved so much, especially since being in Dex. You can tell he's taking it seriously. But this performance was the perfect marriage of both, and you can see how much Yim has improved at vocals, and then you can see how much that Tutor has improved with dancing. They truly are, to me, the perfect pair. They're so funny together and they're chaotic and silly, but they always rise to meet each other. Like, Tutor worked really hard to be a better dancer so that he could share the stage with Yim, and Yim worked really hard on being a better singer so he could share the stage with Tutor. And you can't ask for better than that. Plus, the song is so cute, and it was a perfect choice for them. They were obviously having so much fun. Yim will give it away every time because when he likes something or is having a good time, he can't stop smiling. Like, if you've ever watched him do anything ever, like, he just smiles when he's happy and cannot hold it in. He was smiling the whole time. So they did Kitty Swag, loved it. It was perfect. And then they did another song. It's a Thai song and it's called Nu Yak Dai. And basically it just means I want that. And so in the original version, it's like these dudes. I think it's three guys, and they're kind of like I don't know about rapper, but sort of. And then it's a club song. And then a girl sings the part about Nulyak Dai. And so that was Yim's part. And he had a lot of vocal in this one, which is not normal for him. I understand why he was saying it was difficult because he carried this song. The female vocal carries the song. And he pulled it off and made it so cute. So basically the lines of the song are the girl is like, oh, I want that. I want that. I know I don't need it, but I really want that. I can't help it. I just want that. And the guy is coming back saying, oh, well, you're my girl. I'll get anything you want. I'll do it. I know you don't need it, but here it is. And then over the verses, he's like, well, could you maybe not want that? I'm running out of money. And it just goes on and on. It's very cute and very funny. And again, perfect choice for their personalities. And the dancing was also really well done. Yim looks so good all the time. You're just gonna hear me say that over and over again. But he really made it sexy and funny. And we all know that Yim is a little princess. So the song just fit them so well. And then Tudor even ended up putting in to one of he changed the lyrics to one of the parts and then called himself Papa Mayday, which Mayday is what they call um their mascot. Like, it's his nickname. Eleanor is the name, but they call him a bunch of different things, and Mayday is one of them. So it was a really cute nod to how excited they were about their mascot, too, and they love that mascot. So it was an amazing performance. And then at the end, this is why day two is better. So at the end, it gets really quiet, and then Tudor, every time Tudor says something and he speaks up, I guess because he's so shy, it's not normal that he speaks up. But whenever he speaks up, it's like everyone is nervous. Like, what is he gonna say? Especially Yim. So everybody got quiet and he's like, I have an announcement to make. And it's like it was right after their 5-year anniversary of being a couple, too. So he's like, we've been together for 5 years, and that's a really long time. And then he kind of paused and looked at Yim, and Yim is like sweating bullets. You can tell he's so nervous because he doesn't know what Tudor is going to say. And then now he's talking about how long they've been together and how long they've been a couple and everything they've gone through. And the joke kind of is every time he does this, everybody thinks he's going to propose. He's always acting like it. Like, it definitely feels like that every time he does this. So even at like Yim's graduation years ago, Tudor showed up and he like said some nice things about him, and then he brought him a gift and it was a ring. But it like Yim was so scared when he opened that ring box. Like, that's, to me, they're so in love, Your Honor. He wouldn't be nervous about the guy proposing all the time if there wasn't something going on. So anyway, I love them. They're perfect. So during this, he goes on about that. You can tell that Yim is nervous, and he's like, haha, yeah, we have. And he's like, yeah, well, now we have like a big announcement to make. And then he paused again, and Yim's like, ha ha ha. Okay, now I'm nervous. He said it aloud. He's like, now I'm getting nervous. But what happened was Tudor announced that Tudor and Yim are now going to star in a Demundi series. They're going to be the leads in an official Demundi series, which they have not been. Well, no, they were in The Middleman's Love, but that wasn't given to them. They were the backups. So this is their real. They intended Tudor and Yim to be the stars of this upcoming show, and they've already been working on it. So whenever they do the DMD lineup, they're going to announce it. And that's that other book that I bought. I'm pretty sure it's that series. So he wanted to announce officially that they're also working on another series right now, and it's from Demundi. So you know it's going to be good, and it's a scary one. And obviously, horror is their surprisingly Demundi's genre. So I have super high hopes for that. I think that that is a perfect fit for Tudor and Yim. Just yeah, I'm super excited. But that was his announcement, and if you didn't see day 2, then you didn't get to see that. And then at the end of the song when they did Noyak Dai, they look at each other. And the first day they did look at each other kind of intensely, and it's like, oh, might they kiss? But they didn't. But in this one, they're like Tudor is holding Yim in his arms, and they of course get really close, like, will they kiss? But then Yim looks at the camera and mouths Nuyak Dai, like, I want that. And so it was everything about their attitudes and how fun they are and just kind of cut loose. That's why you should go with day 2. Honorable mention. I'm not going to go over like every single bit of the concert. I did want to talk about particularly those two couples because I like those two couples. But honorable mentions and ones that I think you should check out. James Su's performance was amazing. He's such a good dancer and singer, but his dancing really killed it during his stage. And I heard a rumor that during his stage on the second day that his in-ear was not working. So that's how the performers hear their own music, because when you just hear it out in the arena, there can be an echo or a delay. So when you're a performer, you wear those so you can be on time with the music and you can hear it directly and you're not hearing it distorted from the speakers in the arena. Well, evidently he couldn't hear it at all and still nailed the dance. He was not off a beat. So everyone say good job and go check out that performance. The other ones that I really loved were Poppy. He did Umbrella, like the Rihanna song. It very much in the style of like when Tom Holland did it and that famous video where he's performing it in front of Zendaya. But Poppy did it. And he was usually you don't see Poppy be like really sexy, but he definitely was during that performance. Like he was giving his all. Good for him. And then Park, his brother, did Gentleman by Psy, like the Korean artist. I didn't know what to expect when they announced that, but Park's performance was really good. Like I was impressed. He's a great singer and dancer, and I had not really seen a lot from him. I know he's always around and he does hosting and stuff, but he's just not one of the members that I knew super a lot about or had seen a lot of his work. But he really surprised me and impressed me. And then lastly, of course, because I love him, Mark. Mark is like my next favorite under Tudor and Yim. I will always love him, and he will always be like one of my favorite members. And he even did a song, he did Banana, and it's not my favorite song. I'd heard the song before, but he made it fun and sexy, and he's just sexy in general. So I think that everyone should watch it just to support Mark. I was just glad he was there and he was looking great. And then all of the different gens had a group song. So Gen 2, theirs was so good. I love their friendship chemistry. You can tell that those guys are such good friends. Gen 1 and Gen 2, you can tell they are super tight. And I just love to see their dynamic with each other. They're all having a great time. And they back in the day, they used to call Yim and Nunu the twins, and you can definitely see it when they're performing and talking as a group with each other, how similar and funny they are. So it was great to see them all together. And then the other one that I really enjoyed was Oh Oh and Save. They did songs that I wasn't familiar with, but their costumes, their backup dancers, the songs themselves, they were so good. They're a great duo, and their dancing and singing is really well matched too. So I'll try to find a video of that one as well. That one is worth watching. It was so good. I think that is everything. I think I covered it all. If I didn't, feel free to leave me a comment, ask me questions. I'm happy to share more about the concert, about the trip. This isn't like an official, here's how you travel. It was just me talking about things I like. So I love to chat. Please feel free to drop me a comment. Tell me your favorite part. Tell me what part of the concert you liked. Tell me what part of the trip you thought was cool. Ask me questions. I don't care. I just like to be friends. Term starts this week, so I will see everyone back next time.